Hello and welcome back to Heritage House. This week I'm getting lots of stuff done around the house. It's March, so I thought of some corned beef inspiration for you guys if that's something you like. I am getting this started in the crock pot. If you haven't tried making corned beef, if it's not something you grew up having, it's really good and it's really easy to make. And pairing it with just the classic cabbage and mashed potatoes, or you could do roasted potatoes. However, it is so good. It's honestly one of those meals that doesn't like look the best. It's just very simple. It's a humble type of meal, but it is so yummy, so delicious. Every time my husband and I have it around this time of year, we're like, why don't I make this more often? Like it's so good. So I'm just getting that in the crock pot. You just put it in, cover it with water, and then add the seasoning pack, and that's it. And just let it go on low for 8 hours and cut it, and it is ready to go. So I'm gonna get this cabbage going just a little bit before we're gonna eat. I like to saute it with butter and salt, and that is it. And it just turns out super yummy and so good for you. And then I actually had a bunch of leftover potatoes that I had frozen. So this came together really, really simply, which was nice. It's always nice to have a little jump ahead when you're making food. So that was good. I actually had to add this to a different pan. I got it all in here and it was way too much. It always wilts down, but I got overzealous with that reality. So this is just a super yummy meal, and I'm actually going to show you something else that I make with it with the leftovers. But I'm going to jump into something else first. So I'm cutting it up and just going to get it on a plate, and it's such a yummy, warm, cozy meal. So I love to keep boiled eggs on hand. They're just a good snack, or you can make some egg salad for a sandwich if you want to have that for lunch. They're just so good and flexible to have around. You can even have them for breakfast with some fruit or something like that. They are, or on a piece of toast. They're just very versatile. So love to keep boiled eggs around. Here I am whipping up my bread as I always do. And when I started making bread, I really just like looked into it for a while and just kind of absorbed things from just watching. And then as I got more reality on it, I started to make it. So I always like to add little bits of it here and there if you're interested in doing something similar. So I've got my water in the bowl. I actually love to add my water and my starter first because you don't get all the flour stuck to the bottom of the bowl. It just works out super nicely. So I did the water, the starter, the flour, and then the salt, and then mixed it all up. I love using my spatula to mix it up instead of my hands. It gets so stuck on my hands, and I just don't love that, which is hilarious. But anyways, and then I'm going to feed my starter. If you're not familiar with feeding a sourdough starter, it is a living bacteria and it has to be fed to stay alive and active, or it will eventually die out and mold and get funky. But as you keep it fed, it's literally living. So it just has to have water and flour. Every so often, I keep mine in the fridge, so I really only have to feed it once a week or as often as I need it. And it just stays really happy in there. And then, as far as discarding it goes, if you don't get that whole process, you dump some off because if you don't, or you use it, like in this case, I just used it and then I refed it. But if you weren't using it and you just keep refeeding it, and you don't do any discard, you don't get rid of any of it, then it'll keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, more volume. There'll be more volume. You're just putting more flour and more flour, and it will require more and more food. It will require more flour because it's literally like a larger, entity, if you will, or, living thing. So, but if you use it often, then there's no problem with it. But if you're like, what is the discarding part of, your sourdough starter? That's what it is. You're just pouring it off, so you're feeding something smaller, you're keeping it smaller, so it's requiring less food, which is the flour and the water, if that makes sense. So, anyways, that's that. So this is all mixed up, and I'm going to cover it and then jump into some stretch and folds. And you'll just see how the dough takes shape and gets stronger and smoother, and it is a pretty cool process. You can already see here how it's starting to get smoother and it's just stronger as I pull it. And that's the second stretch and fold. Here I'm going back in for the third, and you can just see the strength. The gluten is developing and the dough is just becoming all incorporated. And here I'm just playing around with some coil folds. It's a little bit different of a stretch and fold that I'm playing around with. But there's so many different things, so many different um, strategies to bread making. It is fun. So I like to peel my eggs if I can before I get them in the fridge. I don't always do it. I'll throw them in there a lot. My mom always gets on to me. She likes to peel them first, but it just depends on the time I have. But here I got them all peeled, and it's just so nice to have as a snack or making into something. I love them on some bread, some toast with avocado, a little avocado toast with egg. So yummy. Now I'm jumping into a much needed task, project, if you will. We have a pretty big sectional, and pulling it all apart is quite the little ordeal, and it needed to be done. So, with little kids and dogs, it gets pretty gnarly under here. So, getting this all pulled apart, pushed around, vacuumed and cleaned. It's funny, this is something probably even just a few months ago I never would have tried to tackle with my girls, but I'm getting more adventurous with them and things I try and do with them. And it worked out. It was definitely not without the adventure of keeping them out of the dirt and that kind of thing, but it worked well. And it actually, I feel like as they're getting older, it is older in quotes. It's good. It's good for them to see, us taking care of the house and doing things that are important, and it'll help them learn to do that themselves. And they even like to help in little ways that they can. So this was a much needed job. I'm kind of getting into that quote unquote spring cleaning. We live in Florida, so I usually get these kind of feelings more in the winter and the fall type of time because that's just when it's really nice out here, and that's really when I feel like cleaning. So more when it's nice and cool. So tackling some much needed deep cleaning. These things always just, I'm just so surprised at when you get this stuff done and put it all back together, how clean stuff feels, and you don't even, it's not something you even really see. But I swear, there's like an energy to dirt and just that, I don't know. It's just like you can feel it. You can feel when it's like funky and I don't know. It just has something to do with something like the chaos. I don't know. Anyways, it always feels so nice to have a space clean and really deeply cleaned, and thankfully this is not something that has to be done often. So, it felt really great. Really, really great to get this done. So maybe this is your inspiration to try something you wouldn't normally with your kids around if you're ready. This is definitely not something, this not very long ago would have been a project I did during nap time with two-year-olds. But they're getting older, they're able to listen more, they're able to slightly entertain themselves from time to time. And so I decided to jump into it and it worked out. It worked out well. Definitely not the same. This is something I talked about in a couple videos back. The expectation we have as parents with what we're able to get done is different. My girls are my number one priority. Their needs are my number one priority. This is a short season in time, and I am the one who, I heard this recently, like, I am their like digestive system for their emotions. And little kids, you are like, you're there from moment to moment to help them to calm down, to feel safe and all that. And so they come first. And if underneath the couch doesn't get cleaned out, then it's okay. It'll eventually happen, and it's totally fine. But it sure does feel nice to be able to get these projects done as we are able to. And it really is being active and productive really helps you be in a better brain space. And it certainly does for me. So it's good to know the season we're in and when to push ourselves a little bit more, when to try something new. And we always have that sense of accomplishment and sense of, okay, we're breaking into a new time period here where we're able to have more capacity, and it's great. And it is very rewarding to get those projects done. That was one of our fur babies, Oakley, and because of her and her sister, Lily, the couch will be soon covered up with all the big throw blankets that I have for it, but it had its nice little moment. So now I'm going to be making dinner with some of the leftover corned beef that I made, and I'm making Reuben sandwiches. So here I'm making the Thousand Island dressing, which is simple to make. You just need mayonnaise, some chopped onions, some sweet relish, some ketchup, and if you have some paprika, just regular paprika, you can put that in with a little white vinegar, or there's other vinegars you can use. You can look up the recipes. They're very simple, but super yummy. You can use mayonnaise or you can make mayonnaise. I made mayonnaise here, and it was very easy to whip up. So for Reubens, you use like a rye bread. I usually get swirled rye and pumpernickel. This was just rye pumpernickel all in one. And I'm buttering up the sides and we're gonna grill it. So You need Swiss cheese, corned beef, Thousand Island dressing, and sauerkraut. So you put it all together and then you grill it. I like to add the dressing after. Some people put it on before they cook it, but I like to add it after. So this is something I love to make whenever we have corned beef in the house, which is usually only once a year. Well, I so enjoyed having you with me this week. Maybe this will inspire you to make yourself a corned beef Reuben as St. Patrick's Day is approaching. You guys have a great week, and I can't wait to see you here again soon.